Mobile is going to be ruling, no doubt about it, right? It's and I think it will grow on that scale now as well. With the AI, everything is getting AI enabled, and they will just grow as that. So the future is very bright in iOS
How does
today.
it categorize? So, do you have any ranges?
I do have. I think Japan has a very different approach in paying to a tech employees. They pay very less considered to other countries. So
And what inspired you to choose iOS development as your career?
and that's a very exciting question. I also ask it to myself. Go for something like which is having a meetup, a tech meetup of your own tech stack. Go and make friends over there. So by the name, you will know that how things are going up in that particular city, right? That okay, what they are up to, what different companies are following. Okay, someone is writing the code and basically.
Hello and welcome to Code and Coffee with Sabapati. As developers, our work experience can change a lot depending on where we are. And today we will be talking about what it's like to be a developer in Japan, how things are different when it comes to our culture, workplace dynamics, and how people interact, and even how things get done. And to help us to explore this, I have got an amazing guest with me, Kishore. Keshav is an experienced iOS developer who started his journey in India and is now working in Japan. He has worked on some really exciting projects and taken up on new challenges and adapted to completely a different cultures and work environments. In this episode, Keshav is going to share his story and some insights about the iOS development and his work in Japan and talk how it differs from the working in India. It's going to be a great chat. Let's jump in. Hi, Keshav. Thank you so much for joining us today. So let's start the session. And what inspired you to choose iOS development as your career path?
Okay, and that's a very exciting question. I also ask it to myself some period over time that why I went into iOS. The question is like the answer which I find myself is that, like when we were in college, we used to very fascinated about the Apple devices. Someone is having iPhone, someone is having MacBook, right? And I used to think of like, wow, well, working for the with the MacBook something would be very fun to have. And then I got idea that like one of my cousin told me that how about getting into iOS development? It would be very fun, and you will have MacBook and everything. And so like, that goes. That seems to be very interesting. Why not go and give it a chance? And that's how I'm into
Yes.
iOS. So I learned it, and just getting into the Apple ecosystem, the giving the free access to Apple ecosystem. So that's how
Exactly.
I.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. And
Mm.
what ultimately brought you to Japan? Did you choose Japan or Japan chooses you?
I think Japan chooses me. I did not thought of coming to Japan anywhere because we Indians always very inclined towards West, going to US, UK, or
Yes.
somewhere in Europe, right? And Japan chooses me. So luckily, I got a chance into working for a company in India that is Kachato India Private Limited. And there I worked with. I had a very good boss over
Yeah.
there. We are still in contact. Very good human being. Then I was working closely with the Japan team in Tokyo over here. I had a good relationship over there as well. Good people, good management. We were working on a project over there, and since there was a time zone difference, they wanted me to work over here so that we can complete the project ASAP. And that's how I came to Tokyo from Japan. So it's like Japan chooses me.
Okay, it's inspiring to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, great. So after going to the Japan, like how did you initially get settled in Japan? Like you must have some challenges in general, or what kind of support did you receive, either from your employer or some community, or when you arrived to Japan?
Well, definitely. So getting out of a country for a very first time, and that too in a country where there's a language difference because they don't speak English is not their first language, right? So it's going to be very difficult. So, but on the other hand, I got a lot of support from my employer. They took care of me from everything. Like they offer me the help if I want to have house search, if I want to get my bank account open, if I want to get my, the office, official residential things done to be documented and everything. They offered me help over there. Luckily, I also got help when I came here from an Indian community. living in Tokyo. So I was in contact with them before I boarded my flight to Tokyo. So they also helped me when I
Yeah.
landed over here. Like, okay, things I have to do, and they navigated me in a particular way. So that basically sorted my life a little bit. Still being very new in a very foreign country where language is different and there's entirely different culture.
Exactly.
So it was a little kind of fearful, and that we don't know language and everything. But now I think it's getting settling out. Now I know what is what. So when you know what is what, you get settled down with the
Yeah.
things. Initially, it was, yes, it was a little kind of fearful, a little kind of you hesitant to ask thing or go for things we don't know, right? And also because, for example, you cannot hear a music even though you put your headphone, you cannot put that on a very loud,
Okay.
uh, you
Yeah.
know, volume because it can disturb any other persons. This was not in India, right? So you have to be very careful of how you are carrying yourself in the public
Yeah.
place. So these kind of things were little challenging in a bit at that time, but then it's get over. So once you get used to it, you are like,
Yeah.
no.
Generally, like Japan people are really like hardworking and they care about
Yeah,
themselves, and that's really good. And I know my friend who worked in Japan, so he told me about these things. Like they are really specific, and so it's nice to hear from you.
yeah.
Yeah. So like what's life in Japan like outside of work? So how do you compare the life in India?
Okay, Japan has a different experience altogether. I cannot say it's a good or bad, but it will give you a different experience. You're on your own over here. So it's like it makes you to be on your own. So for example, once you're done, unlikely to unlikely to get a roommate like India. You're unlikely to get friends like India if you're very new in the town. But you have to make your own. You have to go to the clubs, you have to go to the pubs, you have to just talk with the people, and then you get the friends over there, right? Since you're new in the town, new in the country, it's very unlikely that you will have the friends from the
From the
beginning,
beginning,
right?
exactly.
You have to create your own. So you have to go to the hangout places where you can make friends. You have to go to the book club. You have to go to the board game club, and then you meet people, make friends, go over there to have some drink and like that. Um, it's basically a different
Yeah.
experience. You are sometimes all alone, just minding your own business,
Yeah.
dealing with your own thoughts, and then you are having and going fun with them. They are very much into planning the things. Unlike India, we just getting bored, pick the
We are
phone,
not
call
arguments.
the friend. You cannot. You have to plan out the things. Then you have to go like that. So it's a little thing different from India. Other than that, it is very
Yeah.
common.
So it's really good to understand the how Japanese people do their work and in the real life. Okay, before going to the work environment, I know some of the apps like Mercury, Pepe, Rakuten, and Line app. So these apps are highly used in Japan. So as I told you that my friend was working in Japan, so he uses the Line before 5 years. Like the features are more when compared to Indian version when he logged in with his Japanese mobile number. So there are so many features like screen sharing, voice sharing, edit the voice, and creating the own stickers. Now nowadays in the WhatsApp we can create the stickers, but in the 5 years
Mm.
before they were able to. And I could see that some of the split files we used to have in a separate app, but in Line they have insurance, food ordering, purchase. I don't know
You
like
have really
yeah.
popular.
So different apps out of the world, too much options, and they put everything into a single thing. That's a line app. That's completely different. They have a lot of things. I feel myself complicated to see all those things in this one app. So you share your experience, and it can be your working experience or your thoughts on this.
So yeah, Line is pretty much used in Japan. Like everyone using Line over here. It's their go-to WhatsApp. And the good thing is about is the privacy. So for example, if you if I have to take your WhatsApp, I will get to know your WhatsApp number.
Yeah.
But Japan people, they love the privacy. So if I have to add you as a friend, I can ask you for the barcode of your Line app and I can scan it. I can add you as a friend, but I will not be seeing your phone number,
Yeah.
right? So these are the things which Line app gives that gives the Japanese people more towards it. So if you say that, hey, I'm on WhatsApp, they will be a little hesitant to, install and talk with you on WhatsApp. Rather, they prefer to have a Line. Definitely, Line is like go-to app for them. You can see the reels and everything, make the stickers and everything. They just have it's like fun over there. They are into Instagram also, to have all those things, but Line makes their life pretty much easy, and it's a big corporation in Japan, Line, and they have very good engineers over here as well.
Yeah. Just before 5 years, you have put all together in one. So that is amazing.
Exactly.
And I could see this is how the Japanese users believe and they want these features, right?
Yeah, I mean, why not? If they can have everything in just one place, so the entire ecosystem is there with them. That what you want, it's in one app, kind of thing, right? Same thing I think Rakuten is doing as well. So Rakuten is expanding its business in multiple sectors. So they want the user to, okay, you want bank, take bank. You want credit card with that, take credit card with that. If you want a personal financial management app, take with that also. So just give everything the user want, right? And it will make the life of user easier. So
Yeah, simply great. And I have seen the Rakuten. It's similar to Amazon, right? And Mercury, also e-commerce kind of things.
yeah. So their main business is definitely Ichiba, the e-commerce app, but they are into expanding their verticals in many ways.
Great. Yeah. But I'm not sure about how does the work and the hierarchy. So generally you have worked in Indian companies. You know the work hierarchy for the technical teams and all those things. But I have heard something like in Southeast Asia, like Japanese and Chinese and Korean, they have a different hierarchy in work culture. So especially in the tech teams. And does this influence this project execution? What do you think about that?
So far, I've been lucky that we always hear that like the work culture of Japan is very tough and they're very workaholic. Also, definitely Japan is coming from a mindset of having hierarchical structure in their organization. So it goes from top to bottom, like you have to follow the orders. That also goes with some tech companies, though not a doubt, because I have spoken to some of my friends, mutual friends. They work for different Japanese companies. They say it's like it's a typical Japanese company where we have to follow the orders and execute the things. There are some companies also which are opening up and they're coming out compete with the global tech giants. Like for example, you take Line, PayPay, or Mercari. They want to open up, so they don't want to follow that approach. Or for example, Rakuten. They want to have like open up space so that anyone can come up with the idea. Anyone can come up with their suggestions to the things, and they will commit. So that is helping them also to grow very fast and coming up with the new ideas, because when you're taking care of many perspectives, you expanding your horizon also, right? And that is basically also helping them thriving their business. From my experience, I think in the execution, they are very well in execution. So they know that if the code has to be freeze today, it has to be freeze today. Whatever features has already been merged to the branch is already completed. That's it. If we cannot, it will go in next release. We don't have to stress out. So this things makes the life of everyone easy, right? You know what is it, and it is what it is. You cannot do anything. You don't have to stress out.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
So they go in that way. They have a very scheduled plan and they go in that way. But then they also introspect that why it did not go as per plan. So where the trouble happened, and they want to improve it in the later phase.
So they will note down those backlogs and
Definitely.
then they will push it in the next release.
Every introspective meeting, they will decide what went good, what went wrong, and how we can improve.
In terms of work environment, so how it differ from India? So is there any challenges with specific to the systems or processes during your app development? Like it could be challenging for you, right? From India to Japan, that you share your experience.
Initially, it was when I came from, because I was working in a startup kind of environment, right? So everyone is sitting at the on table, the backend guys over there, the front end guys over here, the Android team is there. So we just discuss the things that, oh, how are you doing the things in Android? How are things are doing in iOS, right? Not like that. So if you're here, even you, initially we discuss things in a stand-up meeting, in the Scrum meeting, right? Okay, Android has done it. How you done it? And then we take up time, and then we go and discuss with them that okay, how things you have done, or they come to us that how you have implemented in iOS, right? We don't just go to seat and just ask them, hey, what's going on? What you have done, and how things are going on like that. So these kind of challenges was there definitely in Japan. Because they are very much into their work and they follow the proper channel to discuss the things. If it has to be discussed in the meeting, it has to be discussed in the meeting. Like, right? Initially, it was challenging, but then I think you also give their own, because like when you're working in a very cosmopolitan environment, everyone is coming from different culture and different background. So you can input your thing to it, right? You can input your salt to it. So I just did like that. I just go to the seat and I ask them, hey, what's going on? Can you tell me that? Because if you're new in the company, you need to know many things. And you cannot wait for entire day to come to a meeting and then you execute the things. It will just a waste of time. So just go and ask. So in that way, I just started the things. I think I did not wait, and I think it went pretty well.
Yeah. So you are a good starter. Like,
Well, I can go, I can ask. I can ask them, hey, what's the issue? Can I help you out in that? So that also make them open up with the things, because if someone is not opening up or someone is hesitant inside, if you go and offer the help from the very first place, they will open up.
Yeah, great. So they accept those things, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So like some people will have some hesitance to speak to higher authorities. So I find this is really good. Yeah, great. So now like in the career part of things, like like you worked in Japan. So how does it impact your personal and professional growth?
I think I became more calm and more patient person now than I was in India. Because in India, like I tell it to everyone that everyone is late and everyone's in rush. Like you see people rushing, but they're always late. I'm becoming more calm and more patient over here. I don't get panic about if I'm running out of time with the project. I know that if I cannot make it up, I can tell them if I cannot make it up, it will take more time. They ask me for the reason, I tell them the reason, if I have a genuine reason, and they are okay with that also. As a professional, I think I'm becoming more into, so coming from a startup background where we just have to ship the product. Now we have to know that what we are shipping and how good it is. So we cannot just ship anything. So before shipping, we just have to have a proper code quality, then we can only ship, right? So this is helping me in a professional way that, okay, calm down, hold on, think properly, then write code properly, and then ship it, right? And it is also helping me to, when doing the PR code review, we also think of what is the train of thought of another person who wrote the code, right? From where he's coming, why he wrote like that. So because when you know yours, you cannot tell about others. So that is the helpful thing in a professional. Personally, I'm getting more calm. I'm getting more into things, what I can control, what I cannot control. So don't be in a rush. Don't try to be, control everything. So it's giving me relaxed kind of thing.
So yeah, it's great, and you are following their plans, right? So you are able to utilize, and also you can able to follow their culture also.
Yeah,
great. In terms of opportunities, now you have internal exposure, right? So since you are working in there, and what are the new things you have learned, and what are the things you adapt, some new challenges? Yeah, can you elaborate something?
Oh, definitely. So coming from iOS background, when I came to Japan, we have a product which was using Node.js as a server, and I didn't know Node.js at all. When when I came to Japan, I suddenly got a request from a manager that, hey, you have to fix a bug in that. I didn't know anything. So I just went into it, understood it with the help of other guy, a backend guy. He set up the environment for me. And then I understand, because the syntax is same, just have to understand the language, how it works. So I just fix it out. That was a certain kind of thing which was little shocked that, okay, how can I fix it? The first thought was, how can I fix it? And once I fixed it, I knew that, okay, I can do it. Okay. So that gave me that, oh, in India, what happens is like, you joined a company, the infrastructure guy will set up your PC and everything, and they will do, and you are just ready with your own tasks. You cannot do anything out of your own box. This is your container, you just do. If you're iOS, just do iOS, right? It is not like that. You can do anything. If you want, I got the chance. Like, okay, you can do Android. Can you do that? Oh, yeah, of course I can do that. Can you do this? Of course I can do that. Can you do the Flutter? Of course I can do the Flutter. So just learn anything. If you got the chance, just learn anything. And that's how they are. They don't restrict themselves from not learning and not growing.
So you can able to have a freedom in learning.
So that thing was inside me for a very time in me, that, okay, how can I learn anything which I was not, learned before? But that's how you learn anything, right? So now now I knew that how they are growing. So basically anything new you got a chance to, say yes and go for it, because you're getting a chance to learn.
Yeah, great. The network strategies. So when you are having in the global tech careers, so what are the things would you like to recommend for someone entering an international tech hub like Tokyo. Tell me, what are the strategies you have followed and what the beginners can go with?
So you're saying like how they will adjust with a global tech
Yeah.
environment if they go outside of India. So I think once they go in their organization itself, they start making friends. So think of it like no one will come and ask you about lunch or dinner, right? So just go and ask them that, hey, if I'm feeling I'm going for the lunch alone, are you free this time? Can you join me? So once you become friend like
Okay.
that, right? So it will make you like more understanding of things of other, right? Then go for something like which is having a meetup, tech meetup of your own tech stack. Go and make friends over there. So by the name, you will know that how things are going up in that particular city, right? That okay, what they are up to, what different companies are following. Okay, someone is writing the code in basically for Vision OS. So oh, you are already started working on Vision OS. Nice. Okay, what is that? So in that way, you will come to know that how things are going up in that particular city, right? So basically, don't wait to slowly make the friends. Go and just start.
Yeah.
Just roam around, just go for meetup, just go for different tech clubs and start talking to people. Tell them that from where you are coming. Tell them that, okay, what you have done. There is nothing to shy about. And I don't know. Oh, you guys are already working on SwiftUI. Perfect. I haven't started it. I'm still working on UIKit. Tell me what are the challenges you are facing in SwiftUI, which you haven't faced in UIKit, right? So they will come to know that you will already having their experience. So that way you can make friends and you can adjust in basically anywhere in the world.
Great. So you do you go for some meetups nearby or online? So from which you are gathering some new information about the technologies or new insights about the technologies.
There is this iOS meetup everywhere. The guy is from, I think, Meta, and he organizes over here. So we used to go to that tech meetup in iOS, and every iOS developers from different part of companies come over there, and we just talk, chit chat, listen to their talk, they're not talks they used to give, what they are up to, what the new things over here in the iOS domain, and just make friends over there. So that's how I used to.
Okay, great. Yeah. So now, like in as an iOS developer, so what are the struggles and what are the challenges specific to the iOS development in Japan? Like, I feel like I could say that localization that could be the challenging. So, what about you? Like, is there any other challenges?
Same. So I live in Japan, but I don't know Japanese much. And especially if it is a very business level Japan, which you provide the exact language in your application. It's a proper business level Japanese, a very fluent Japanese, right? So we are working on an application which does not have English support, but I don't know Japanese, right? So we have to have a localization in a way where when we are having a development build, we are having it in English. When we are giving an app store build, we are having in Japanese, right? And style entirely in Japanese. So localization is one of the big challenge. Also, when your product team or business team is in Japanese,
Okay.
right? They speak Japanese and they write in Japanese, and you don't understand Japanese well. So it's gonna be very difficult for you to understand the requirement or what you are trying to say, because Google Translate sometimes does not exact the
Yes.
real meaning and real sense of it, right? So it just sometimes misinterpret the things, and you don't understand what they are trying to say and what you are trying to reply back, and that's a little challenging over here. So Japan, in a way, are changing. So the higher management in many of the companies are looking for English speaking because they know that they are getting a talent from across the globe, so they have to speak English. They encourage people to learn Japanese as well. So if it goes both way, I think it would be very helpful. But that is a little challenge we can face over here in a companies where there's a language gap,
Yes.
language
Yes,
difference.
exactly. So it would be helpful for us also, right?
Us also, yeah, and it's good for you. You just got to learn a new
Yes,
language,
yes.
right? Although that was a little
Uh,
difficult.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So since you were working as an iOS developer like 2016, I guess. Yeah.
Correct.
So that what would be your perspective on the current state of iOS development and its future?
I think mobile is going to be ruling, no doubt about it, right? It's was when the mobile came out as a smartphone, it was basically just growing exponentially, and I think it will grow on that scale now as well. With the AI, everything is getting AI enabled, and whatever apps you're talking about, they will have the AI enabled into it, right? And they will just grow as that. So the future is very bright in iOS development. So if the people says like I'm going with the native. I'm going with the hybrid mode. I'm saying like, okay, I don't think that every APIs will give you all the benefits of what the native does. And there is no doubt about it that the native will rule the mobile space, whether it in terms of Android or in terms of iOS. I see a very bright future of it. Considering the new kinds of APIs Apple is releasing,
Yes.
right? And with the Xcode and AI-enabled Xcode features they are coming up, making it
Now we have like we can able to use the ChatGPT with Xcode as well.
exactly right, and it makes you. Although I'm like, it gives you some kind of difficult cases because
Privacy.
and ChatGPT very know, right? Doesn't know that which API gets deprecated, which API did not get deprecated. So it gives you sometimes solution which is with already deprecated one, but then it makes your life easier. Definitely, it makes your life easier in development
Yeah.
faster.
So I could see your tech stacks like you have probably worked on RxFit more. I feel the third party libraries. And so, what do you feel? What is your thoughts about this RxFit and Combine? So, do you have any preference now?
I think definitely as an iOS developer, we'll go for the Combine. The reason is that RxSwift is no doubt it's an open source project and supports iOS 13 and before. But Combine comes with Apple integrated. We just have to write one line, import Combine. Otherwise, you have to RxSwift, you have to import a port file, and then you have to write pod install and everything. It makes a little difficult, right? And then you have to manage the dependency versions and everything. Since I think Combine is there and it is solely for iOS, it is well, written and streamlined than RxSwift.
Okay.
So, and you can club it out with, SwiftUI, and definitely you can do that with RxSwift, but you can club this combined with SwiftUI and also async and await if it needed be. So, I weight is definitely on
Combine.
combine. I think it's a lightweight also. Yeah.
As you told, that is a streamlining one, and also like chain of operations, we can have it. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
but if you see that has been built on around like Swift 5.5, I guess.
iOS 13, yeah, 5.
So that has been increased for SwiftUI, right? Basically using the publisher and subscribers. So now I could see that there are some less updates, and now Apple team has moved towards the modern Swift concurrency. So the adoption of modern concurrency has been really impacting our iOS development. So, and if you see the Swift 6 majorly apart on this modern Swift concurrency. So what is your view, like how it worked with the SwiftUI? And the combine is dying as well.
I think, though, from my understanding, they are both different things. So, for example, I considered async and await as a modern Swift currency is basically a replacement of our older completion block, right? So, if you're having this multiple, APIs getting called and then using multiple completion callback, right? It makes your code more boilerplate and it will make your code more messy if you see the code. With async await, it makes your code more readable. So it's one line of code, right? You have just you don't have nested callbacks. So that makes your code more readable. That is helpful of it. Where the streamlined operations are concerned and we have to manipulate the data, I think that job is done by the combine, right? So we still need combine in terms of that applications where it is needed. SwiftUI is basically declarative UI framework. So with the combine, definitely with the combine and the SwiftUI, it makes our state management very easy, no doubt about it. But as far as if it is not that much into it, if your app is not that much volatile and not that much changing its state so rapidly, I think async await with UIKit or async await with SwiftUI does the job very well. We don't have to go for the combine, right? Otherwise, it is gonna be, if you don't know it well, because I had been in a phase where I did not know RxSwift well and I implemented it and it was causing a lot of bug. And the problem is like if you go with any framework and you know that you know it, but if your entire team doesn't know it, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah. So if you show that everyone knows in your team that particular framework, then go with that framework. Right. So that's how I.
That's a good observation from your end, and I would say that now, like in Swift 6, like that is to prevent the data races, right? And for the older code base, legacy code base, we can go with the pre-concurrency attribute. And now, like, so what is your view on Swift 6? So will it be a beating or a solution?
I think as far as data race is concerned, we are able to manage it with proper, with it, right? If you have to use atomic, non-atomic, right? In that way, if you have to use lock, not lock, so we can deal with it. As far as Swift 6 is concerned, they are coming up with new things, but it takes a lot of time to reach over there. A lot of applications which are still using their previous, pre-concurrency data resource solutions, and we are still using it. How it will impact in Swift 6, I think we have to watch and see how they are thinking, the coming up with the new applications and how well it is managing. Because SwiftUI still is not that mature as UIKit is. Although people are thinking about it, there are many challenges which you can solve in UIKit, you cannot solve in SwiftUI.
Exactly.
So, right, so we have to wait and watch how things are evolving, because Combine is also evolving, Swift concurrency is also evolving. So they will come up with new, addition on top of it every release. So you have to.
As you told that UIKit is more mature and a stable one, but still, like
Correct.
Apple suggested to develop the application with full Swift UI, but still we have some integration with UIKit. So what do you feel?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel it too. Like, for example, if you want to migrate into things like where you can know that some UI, okay, so we know that we can create an application both with SwiftUI and UI at the same time. So where you think that this controller or this view would be a little challenging to implement in SwiftUI, go for UIKit and make other screens on SwiftUI. So that we can do. Although I'm not very much aligned with what Apple says, because if you see, the Apple says that we have to use MVC, and they don't follow the
Yes.
the proper MVC approach in their own application. If you want to go to their website to learn basically Swift and iOS development, they both vouch for using MVC, but their code is not MVC. So just go with your way, what suits you.
Yeah, now like if you see in the Swift UI, like the Apple suggested to go with the MVVM approach, similar like so using that published variables and also observation framework, we can able to observe the
Yes,
things.
correct.
So they are also changing the chain architecture. But so in terms of you might have worked on Viper or MVVM, right? So now in SwiftUI we need to go with the MVVM or router. What advice would you give to the young developers aiming for an international career?
For international careers, I think make yourself more global. So what I say when I make yourself more global is, don't fix yourself from your own conditioning, right? Be open to learn what other people are trying to say. Be open to understand what other people are trying to do. So with that, you will learn very fast, and you don't see that, okay, this is not what I was not been doing it, I will not do it kind of thing. So just be ready to change yourself as fast as you can, because the world is changing very fast. And if you are willing uh, for the international career, make it from the perspective of learning and from experiencing that, okay, this is going to be experience, different experience for me than from where I'm coming. So always going for new experience, look for new experience. Will always be, going with the think everything as a new experience. That's it. It will make you very light and very happy. That, oh, I got a new experience. Even though it is bad or good, it's a new experience. So in that way, you will be very happy and very fun that, okay, I got a new experience. Oh, I learned this. Oh, I had this. Oh, I just ate this food. So when you go to different countries, just don't work over here. Like, I came to Japan, I don't just work in Japanese environment. I also eat in Japanese environment. I roam around in Japanese environment. So you learn those things. So be easy to be flexible enough to change yourself.
Yeah.
With the demands of the things.
What steps would you recommend for the developers who want to specialize in the mobile development, especially in iOS?
Definitely, I would say that always focus on foundation. The foundation is very strong. I know that people are, even I was myself into that place where, we are always looking for new frameworks. Oh, this came and this looks so good, right? But these all are, glitters which are shining. But still under the hood, if your foundations are very strong, you understand things very well on a very root level. And I myself, vouching for this, and I also myself always going back to the foundation and understand things. If I don't understand how CG graphics are working, I just go and understand that how it works. If I don't know how CA layer is working, I go and still read that how CA layer works, right? And so I think foundation is very important. If you know foundation, if you know MVC well, if you know how to separate the concerns, they are very thing, dry principles, separation of concerns, right? You don't have to go for Viper architecture, because we always see people, they say that, okay, I know Viper, I know compositable
Yes.
architecture, but if you know that where you have to go for drive, if you know where you have to go for separation of concerns, if you know where you have to use protocols, if you know where you have to use the parent class, where you have to separate out implementations, I think this will make your life very easier and you can come up with your own architecture.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Because you know the things. So always go for foundation. Look things beyond the shining
Yes,
part.
so we should learn more about the basics and the foundation.
Definitely.
That will help us to grow more. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What is the demand for iOS developers in Japan right now? Like, so are there any specific industries hiring heavily, or how does it work?
It's humongous, no doubt about it. So Japan is also coming up because when it's seeing that, because Japan was into basically electronics and automobile, right? But now tech is everywhere and they are also evolving in IT. They want a global talent pool, right? To compete with it. Although demand is humongous, they having a problem with language. So, right. So they also needs to learn English and we also need to learn Japanese, right? And there is a gap between it. So if you're not a native, if you do not speak Japanese, it's gonna be a little difficult for you to get a job. There are a few companies like Pepe, Mercari, Rakuten. They hire you if you don't know Japanese from India, and you just pass the interview. But if you want to grow very fast, right? If you want to change companies, if you want to just flourish yourself over here, you have to learn Japanese. So if you are willing to come to Japan for any reasons, if you like anime, if you want to enjoy this culture, Japanese culture, start learning Japanese and you can come. Otherwise, the Mercari and Paper are always willing to hire people from India, so you can definitely give the interview and come.
Okay, great. So are these opportunities for like freelance or remote roles, or the market is focused only on the full-time positions? So what is your take?
I think it's totally on full-time positions because there is remote work is very less. I mean, you will definitely get someone like who are into MVP, right? Or who are into trying out the things. But any established company will always look for someone who can work for them, right? Permanently. So as far as I know, I think they are going for full-time approach so that you can have. And also, there are few companies which says like, okay, you can work from overseas, but they want to give you work from home anywhere in Japan, but not overseas. So they want you to be in Japan anyhow when you're working with them, right?
Okay. So, like if someone wants to move to Japan, so what are the visa options available for the developers who are looking for? So how do you say?
So the visa operations are like if you are having a business visa, like for example, your company is in India also and in Japan also, and you're moving here just for a business purpose, you will have a 3 months of visa.
Okay.
But if you're coming here for like uh, uh, transfer or you want to work in Japan, you will be coming with engineering visas.
Okay.
So the visa will be get sponsored by your employer. So when you get an employer, they will sponsor your visa and you can come to Japan. It will be for 1 year, 3 and 5 year.
Okay.
Depends on your employer and how they want to apply for how duration, long duration.
Okay. So how feasible is to aim for the permanent residency or a citizenship as a tech professional in Japan?
I heard like many of the people are going for it. So they have a point system based on like what is your age, what is your salary, what is your education, like if you hold master's degree or not, or doctorate degree or not. With that values points, they have some numeric points like 80 points, 85 points, 70 points kind of thing. And with that, they give you the PR and the also your Japanese level, like you how GLPT is their exam to
Okay.
know that what is your Japanese level. So with that, with these points concerned, they will give you the PR if you apply. So they will count the points that, okay, you know Japanese level this, your salary is this, your doctorate, okay, good. What is your age? Okay. And then they come up with that, okay, 5 plus 5 or 10 points like that. If you get 70 points or 75 points, I don't exactly know that what is the point number is, but if you get 70, 75 points, you will eligible to get a PR and then you will file for a PR.
Before moving to Japan, like we need to apply some jobs, right? So, how can developers from India or any other countries who can apply for iOS roles? So, are there any specific platforms? Since now in India we have a Naukri and others, and LinkedIn is global. What are the specific platforms you want to go?
So the product companies I know do hire, like in my company, they do hire people from France. They do hire people from India, and it was all through LinkedIn. So you hire through LinkedIn, you apply through LinkedIn, you get to know through LinkedIn if you are looking for it. So an approach is like you can just change your place from India to Japan, and then you start looking for jobs. So you will get the jobs which are in Japan, right? Based on that, you can apply. And There is a two websites which I also refer to, Japan Dev and Tokyo Dev. So when you go over there, you will find out, okay, which companies are asking for language, which company are asking for, like, you have to be in Japan when you're applying, or which company are okay to sponsor your visa. So they have all those, filters there. You can just choose it and then you can apply from it.
Yeah. Okay. As you told about the language proficiency, right? How important is that? And when applying for tech roles?
It is there. When you the website's name I gave you, it is having that it's professional or beginner level, or they want in normal conversational level. So it depends on the company. Some companies goes for, like, if you're going for a higher position like tech lead or software architect, and that too in a company which asks for Japanese, they will go for definitely N2 or N1. That is a professional level or fluency level. But you're going for a senior software engineer where your main job is to develop the things and little bit of conversational with the management side, ask for the conversational Japanese, right? Or if you're just new in Japan and going for a very starting role, when you're a software developer, they'll go with, okay, if you have a beginner level, that's okay. If you don't know also, that's okay. But question is, if you really want to flourish in Japan, you should know Japanese.
Okay. So in terms of salary ranges, right, for iOS developers. So what do you think about the salary ranges in Japan? So there could be some different levels, right? Like from junior to senior and lead. So how does it categorize? So do you have any ranges?
I do have. I think Japan has a very different approach in paying to a tech employees. They pay very less considered to other countries. So if we ask like a senior engineer having 10 years of experience in iOS, they can definitely get around a salary of 12 to 18 million yen. That will include their base salary and bonus. So base salary is what I'm talking about, is what they will get monthly, and bonus is what they will get annually or half yearly. So they can go for 12 to 18 million, and that is the max. Minimum could go for 5 million to 8 million. Yen, that includes bonus. So that is the salary range. You can say that, okay, 5 to 15 is the minimum, and then 8 to 18 is the max. You can, yeah.
And do companies in Japan like offer some benefits or perks that stand out compared to other countries?
I'm not very sure about other countries because I don't have the idea of it. But as for from India, they provide you the traveling allowances. So if you go to office, they will pay for your transportation. So that's a good thing. They have a lot of holidays and then India. So if you, they have a lot of holidays in India. So you have a lot of long weekends. That's a good work, I think. Third thing is, once you are done with your office time, no one can force you to work
Okay.
overtime. If you're doing overtime, it's your wish.
Okay.
No one can force you. So that's a good thing. They respect the employees' life as well. I mean, and they leave it to up to you. Like if you are not working, well, it's okay, but you're showing that you're not willing to work. I mean, suppose if you have task and you're not completing it and you're just shutting out your laptop and going home, it's showing that you're not willing to work. But they will not force you to work. You have to work, like in India. Like you have to work. This kind of thing is very good over. He'll request you over here that, hey, this is the problem. Can you work? And from your own willingness, he will say, yes, I can work. And for that, you will get the works, definitely. The overtime allowances.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's great. Now we are nearing to the closing part of this podcast. Keshav, do you have anything to say or a specific thing?
In anyone who wants to learn iOS, I must say that it may find, because I found it very easy that when I was learning the iOS, that hey, you just have the storyboard, just drag and drop text field, just drag drop labels, and just you're done with it. Connect with the view controller, and you're done with it. No, it is more than that. iOS is more than that. It's easy to start, hard to learn and master it.
Oh.
So when you are trying to learn iOS, don't be hard on yourself sometimes if you don't understand things, because I was also not understanding things, and always try to find a good mentor in your company where you know that there is a good mentor who's helping you out in learning things. Stick with him for longer duration. Learn things, make your foundation strong. When you know what is what, you can create your own things. And that is what I watch for. Go for learning and foundation. Don't go for glitter things. When you know foundations, you can understand what is what. And that is what the funda I missed, and I'm learning now, and I'm going for things now. That
Finding the mentor, that really impressive. And because like they can understand our negatives and positives, they can guide us to improve ourselves. It's a good thing.
help you for basically, sorry for interrupting. So, for example, it's also helping you to grow early. So, if you get a good mentor in your early phase, if you're having 1 or 2 years of experience, you know how to review code, you know what type of comment you have to give, you know how to communicate, you know how to give comment, right? And you know how to create a overall architecture from your mentor, right? It makes your growth faster. So definitely a mentor is a good piece. If you get one, you're lucky and just stick with him.
Okay, great. Yeah, Keshav. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast episode. So it has been like a fantastic hearing about your journey, your experience in Japan, and your insights into iOS development. Thank you. Thanks again for having and taking some time and in the Sundays also. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time as well, right? Sunday is our fun day, but yeah, it was a fun experience, right? And we just had a good conversation. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you. So some new
Yeah.
things I have learned also. It's really good. Yeah. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Code and Coffee with Sabapati. I hope you guys really enjoyed our conversation with Keshav Kishore and get again some valuable insights of what it's like to work in Japan as a developer. So feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn and email ID. I will be sharing in the description on iOS development or move to from India to Japan or any countries. It's really good. And if you're really interested in learning more about iOS development, don't forget to check out our website, swiftpublish.com, where we share our articles, tips, and resources that help you to level up your skills. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Feel free to reach out and share your feedback. Until next time, take care and happy coding. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.